Ben Jonson as a critic of Shakespeare. Ben Jonson was the contemporary of Shakespeare. He was of classical bent of mind, for he was a scholar of high repute. Though he was born in Elizabethan age, but he was much more inclined to classical views. He wanted to provide a new model, new pattern of criticism based upon classical rules and regulations. But at the same time, we find an impartiality and objectivity. He wanted to see anything with an objective view. He neither praised Shakespeare too much nor decried him too much. He pointed out his merits as well as demerits too. In fine, he saw everything in Shakespeare with an impartial view. He was quite different from the contemporary writers. Many of his contemporaries praised Shakespeare too much. They praised even his faults, not to talk of merits. For instance, his appreciators said that he never blotted out line. They said it in the praise of Shakespeare. But Ben Jonson accepted it as Shakespeare's demerits, as he says later on that would rather be better if he would have blotted some lines. For blotting means rethinking on the part of a writer and some new things are added, but he never did it. So it was not his merit but demerit. This proves that Shakespeare was a careless writer. Ben Jonson criticized Shakespeare for facility in expression. It was necessary that he should be stopped for some time. If he would have stopped for some time, he would have certainly provided us with better expressions. But he never did it. So it was not his merit but demerit. So Ben Jonson felt that the same charge which was leveled against Haterius should be leveled against Shakespeare's Suffla Menandus Eret. But Ben Jonson had high regard for him. He says his wit was in his own power, but soon he discovers that Shakespeare had no control over the rules for the use of his wits. That is why he lapsed into vulgarity. Dryden held similar opinion about Shakespeare. His expressions were gentle. He flowed with felicity, but often he was carried away by emotion. Ben Jonson cited an example from Julius Caesar to prove his point. Caesar did never wrong, but with just cause. Such expression is ridiculous, and examples are numerous in Shakespeare. This shows that Shakespeare was not acquainted with the rules and regulations of the ancients. Even Ben Jonson feels there was ever more in him to be praised than to be pardoned. This observation on the part of Ben Jonson goes to prove that he was not biased against Shakespeare. This is a great merit of Ben Jonson as a critic. He was impartial. As a critic, he does not try to impose his views on the readers. He gives arguments and logic to convince his readers. His criticism is full of allusions. In this small piece, we find two relevant allusions and quotations. Ben Jonson, as a critic, is precise in expression. Within one page, he has said everything about the merit and demerit of Shakespeare. His criticism is balanced view about Shakespeare. In this respect, he differs from his contemporaries. He was not rigid as classical critics. He was liberal in his approach to Shakespeare. This liberalism was later on developed by Dryden in the 18th century.